What's up, guys? JD here. I hope you are all doing well today. I wanted to take a moment. I'm looking at my microphone as I'm doing the intro. How awful. I wanted to take a moment to talk a little bit about how I ended up picking up a CZ when I had originally really truly intended to go in and pick up a Glock Gen 6. So let's get it. All right, so I had gone in with the full intent of going to check out a Glock 19 Gen 6 and give the new version of the Glock a go. Now, I'm not a hater. I don't have anything against Glock. I personally just objectively think they offer a far inferior product for the price point. Now, if you were to say that Glocks are like $500, I would say, okay, that's more reasonable. The expectation being what they're offering in today's day and age, that makes more sense because at that $500 price point, you are in a more competitive market. And in today's day and age, at $500, I challenge you to go find something that's not accurate, reliable, and you can depend on to save your life in a life and death situation. You know, that's really how I feel. I don't see a lot of product out there at that price point that's coming in so awful, so underperforming, so unreliable that you're not going to get your money's worth. And at that price point, you're getting iron sights. Sometimes you're getting night sights or fiber optic sights, at least in the front. Optic cut. You're getting a fantastic trigger, great ergos, great grip texture. You're getting nice capacity with your magazines. So to me, to say that you're spending, for trying to be careful how I word this, for something that is not made domestically primarily and fully, to be paying $700, $800, $900 for, I really don't understand, especially when you're getting a domestic made product that generally starts to add slide cuts, compensators, ports. Those are all things that you're usually finding at that price point, or all metal frames, at or slightly above those price points. But anyway, I digress. I was excited to see flat face trigger, a little bit better ergos, much better grip texture in theory. And, I went in trying to be open-minded about it because I historically have not really loved the way that a Glock feels in hands. Very blocky, very uncomfortable, and an unnatural for me personally shoot position. So those are the things that have held me back in the past with Glock. And then knowing that I would need to, or want to, not necessarily need to, because a lot of people say that the plastic sights that are Glock specific that come with the gun are great sights. But to me, I just worry about, something in knowing me and my luck, something happening to where I would have to break those, or if I wanted to upgrade to night sights, etc. Like, I just didn't really want to have to do anything. I didn't want to have to buy a better trigger to install on it. So I went in and looked at it, and they happen to have the CZ P-10c ported in stock. And I was like, can I just have a look at that really quick? I'd like to just to see it. And ended up picking this up instead. And there's a couple of reasons why. I like the fact that you have the night sights on here. For me personally, I don't really need the dots in the rear. I prefer it's a little less distracting and a little bit more natural for me to pick up if they're all blacked out in the rear. So I'm probably going to black out the rear for myself personally. I like the slide serrations, the optic cut, the plate on this. You do have to put a plate on. Do wish that it was more like the Glock in that regard, to where you're just putting the actual guide plate in there. It's not a plate that's mounted to the slide, then like this, then you mount the optic to it. But I would say I bet this is done extremely well, knowing CZ's fit and finish on here. External extractor, simple takedown. It doesn't have the gas pedal-esque slash stimpling here for the thumb. It just has the stimpling for the thumb when you put that on there, but it is nice stimpling. I actually would like it to be a little bit more aggressive. I love the giant opening here. So if you are shooting in the cold and you're wearing gloves, that is a nice feature for it. But ultimately, what really sold me on it, I like the texturing here, the undercut. I like the ergos on this with the large plate. So with the large plate, very comfortable. It's in my natural shooting position with the 1911. I was worried with it because what I have found in the past with Glocks is that when I go to grip these, the front for me, the way that I grip by 1911 and Smith & Wesson or SIG, the noses usually come in down on my natural grip. But when I'm gripping this, when I go to grip down in the natural position, and you'll see when we go out to do some shooting, unlike Glock, like with Glock, the way, I don't know how to explain it, previous gens, I can't say for the Gen 6, I probably will have to end up picking it up and actually spending some time with it and shooting it, and not really having any sort of preconceived notion based off of past Glocks. And it's a little hard to get it to show here because I'm having to raise the hand up for the face cam. But for me, I'm actually in a very natural position when I come out to point and shoot with this, and you'll see on the range that it's very natural and very easy for me. I also like the texturing on this. I was a little concerned that the texturing on this would be a little underwhelming because there are the gaps on the edges here. But what I have found is, like, it is actually, for me, perfectly placed to where I can get the palm on some of the back of the texture, and then the entire right hand is on the texture, and my index finger and thumb land perfectly on that, which is quite surprising for me for a compact. With the larger hands, I usually prefer a full size handgun, and I generally just carry the micros for concealed carry just because they're so much easier to conceal. And like the Smith & Wesson Shield X and the SIG P-365 macro, I can actually get a really good grip on it. Now, of course, they're not as flat shooting as a compact or a full size, but they are far superior as far as being able to conceal, especially in the summertime here where it gets really hot and you're trying to wear as little layers as possible. I really liked the mag release and the trigger on this. That really, on top of the ergos, are what sold me, and the really well done serrations on here. The updates that they did to the P-10c is just super impressive to me. I like the ported version here, and a lot of people, I feel like they blow it out of proportion with the noise. If you've ever shot a revolver, the ported or comped, whatever you want to refer to it as, handguns that are coming out are nowhere near as loud as the revolvers are. I've owned a few, I've shot plenty, snub-nosed, full-sized, they're loud. And that's because on the actual revolver, when it shoots, you have gas coming out right here in your face, as opposed to out here on the tip of the barrel. So to me, it's just a silly argument that they're louder. Why would you get them? I get them because they shoot better. They're easier to return to target. If I'm being threatened by someone who is armed, I want to make sure I get my 4 or 5 shots off quickly before they're able to acquire me and shoot at me. So when I'm defending myself, I'm on target faster. And if there are multiple assaultants, I'm able to get 4 to 5 shots off on each quickly, right? That is the objective. more quickly than a non-ported weapon. Can it be done quickly? Yeah, it can be. It's just this is faster. It's going to be faster. It's going to be flatter shooting, and it's going to be more consistent A zones for me. Quit more quickly. I'm not saying you shouldn't get a non-ported, non-comped. What I'm saying is that the trade-off, just the argument makes no sense to me. When you're shooting these, they're all going to be loud. They're all going to make your ear ring. You may lose hearing either way with either version, but you'll be alive. Anyway, I sincerely went in, like I said, intended to get the Glock Gen 6 19. But when I got this in hand, I was just so impressed. I love the grip texture. I love the serrations on here. The sights are really good. The only reason I haven't blacked out the rear just yet is, I'm trying to decide is if it's disruptive enough. Because when I first did my first shots, my initial impression shots with this, I was really impressed. What I want to do now is try to get out, I would like to get 150 to 250 rounds through this and really shoot it and see how it feels as it starts to break in. But I've been really happy with this purchase. I honestly am quite glad that I went with the P-10c ported over the Glock. And to my knowledge, I don't even think you can get a factory Glock ported, can you? Whereas Smith & Wesson, Springfield, SIG, CZ now, all coming out with ported. Now, correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but I haven't seen them. You still got to send it out to be done. Am I saying don't buy a Glock? No, what I'm saying is, for me, the ergos, the grip texture, the slide serration, the sights, the trigger, all superior here for me, in my opinion, over what you're getting for a Glock that you're going to be spending more money on. These are going to be a little bit harder to get. You're going to have to wait for them to come in to get them. I would sign up for notifications with Academy if your local store is going to be getting one. I believe with those, you can reserve it and then they won't charge you until you actually go to pick it up. But just a really, oh yeah, that's right. One thing I did like, they're not the most high dollar or high end, but it is something that comes in the package, y'all. You insert these little foam, or they're pretty substantially firm. And what you can do with those, I probably should have showed this early on the entire time, unloaded, unchambered. What you can do with these, you can install or you can load the blank in here, and that'll allow you to practice the trigger pull on this, which is really quite good. So this is all take up. That's firing, reset, fire. So if you're trying to go fast with these, it's really quite nice. And like I said, they include this little FRN 9mm. Like I said, it's not a high-end one. They also include 3 extras with it, along with the tools to remove your optic plate and install your new optic plate. They also include extended base plates. So if you want to go from, 15? Yeah, if you want to go from 15 rounds to, I think, 19 rounds with a base plate, you can. They come installed with the factory base plate, which, like I said, for me, with very large hands, the base plate works perfectly. I'm probably going to rotate this in as a carry option / home defense range toy. Like, this is a do-it-all gun at this price point. It's ridiculous how good this is. You can go out to the range, shoot all day long with this, have some fun with it, shoot extremely well with this, enjoy the experience. Then you can take it, put it in your concealed carry holster with some hollow points, just like this and carry it and never need to do anything else with it. You can throw an optic on it. You can throw some grip tape on it if you want even more aggressive grip texturing, which I really only would like it up here. And I actually ordered grip tape for the whole thing just because I want to see if that tape is going to be a little bit more aggressive where the thumb is. But honestly, having shot it, because I ordered that off of the field before shooting, but having shot with this, I really don't think it needs it. Like out of the box, you don't need to buy a trigger, you don't need to buy sights. Like that's my point with this. That's really where I was just kind of like, say what? And then I saw everything that they include with it. They include stuff to clean it and maintenance with it. Now you need to get your cotton squares and your lubricants and cleaners, but they include everything else that you need to be able to take this down and clean it. And it is such an easy takedown. I mean, super easy takedown. Super easy takedown. And it's going to be such an easy to clean weapon that you really don't need anything else. All right, let's go out here and do some shooting and talk about some impressions, some of what I'm feeling with it, and go from there. All right, we're out here with the P-10c ported. I'm probably like, if I had to guess, 25 yards from these steel plates. And I am not the best with the iron sights, which is why I'm shooting iron sights. I want to get better at them. We have two 15-round mags, and we have the bill drill. That's what we're running today. So let's go ahead and run it. I missed one, 289. This is so smooth to shoot. I missed my first shot. I had it tilted left, 240. Missed my first shot, 172. This is so nice to shoot. I missed my second shot, 171. Oh, I didn't have a third shot. I missed the second anyway, 142. All right, let's go to the other mag. All right, let's try that again. Missed two shots, 189. Lord have mercy. Missed the third shot, 172. This is really nice to shoot, y'all. I really like this talking while I'm trying to shoot. 167, missed my first shot though. All right, let me reload and we'll run it back. All right, let's try it a little closer, guys, and see how we do. All right, 158. Moving into 15 yards definitely help. I'm gonna go to the left target now. I do wanna point out, I am noticing like in the beginning, the grip texture was very nice, but what I'm noticing now, it's pretty aggressive in the hand, which is great because it's not gonna slip, but if you're shooting at the range a lot in a given day, you're gonna need to develop some calluses. The trigger reset is very predictable. Not a huge amount of snap. It stays pretty on target. Feels like it doesn't snap back a bunch. I'm gonna try to hit the paper target over here on this particular one, and then we'll show it at the end. Can't really see it. What's happened is I put the paper target so close to the steel, the ricochets have kind of ripped through it, so I can't see too good. All right, let's go back to the steel on the right. All right, I feel pretty good about being here, 168. I'm gonna try to go right 2, left 1. All right, 210 on the reaction. Try again. All right, I missed my very first shot, 196. So I guess before I swap to the next one, like I said, I am noticing the grip texture. Very aggressive. It stays firmly planted. The trigger response is natural. I love the forward grip here for the offhand, and the grips here actually are really, really good. At first I was concerned they were going to be slick, but it turns out not to be really an issue. It actually is the perfect amount. I would say probably the texturing in the back is a lot more aggressive than the front, but as you can see, back and then the front up here, definitely holding on for dear life. The grips are anyway. All right, let's do one more, and then I need to clean all this up. I'm losing daylight, so I'm probably just going to go ahead for this one. I'm going to try to put all three on the target on the right. 160. All right, I'm going to try 2 right, 1 left. I missed the first one on the left. 279. 172. I should have called that right, because I did 1 left, 1 right, 1 right, 1 left. Got my right and my left mixed up there. The sights are really good to pick up. The 3 dots, I think, is what messes me up a little bit. Sometimes on some of my shots, I'm picking up one or the other, left or right, on the rear. And I think blacking those out probably would help me here. All right, let's try 2 right, 1 left, if I have enough bullets left. 176, same thing. All right, and that's a great way to end on it, 198. So really like this a lot. Clear. The trigger, it resets nice. It's really predictable where you're going to land with the trigger. So your take up and you're right there at the wall, and then your wall breaks, and then it's reset and you're good to go. The handle is really, really good. I would probably even say I might just lightly sand this down with a really light grit, just sand it down ever so slightly. If it doesn't kind of wear down on its own, I kind of want to see what happens. Not that I think my hand could wear it down, but considering I'm shooting at, let me show you where I'm at. Considering I'm shooting at what I'm going to call 15 yards off of iron sights and being fairly consistent, right? Trying to go as fast as I can, but still in control. I'm pretty happy with that. And let's go ahead and take a quick look at the paper target here. You can see all the mud and what I'm trying to clear out on my property to make this range work. Okay, so it is, if you can see, it's a little muddy right here. So right there, 2 on center mass, and then 1 just below to the right top of the 9. So I can't get any closer than that. That's my new steel. So what I'm hitting the legs of my tripod, sorry. So what I'm kind of envisioning here, I'm gonna get this one a little bit closer. This is one that I was using earlier to zero in some red dots on on 2 of my concealed carries. We're not even back to where I was standing, for real. Yeah, so this is where I'm standing, and then the gun's extended out, and so not bad, right? As I mentioned, I'm gonna try to watch myself here. The 3 dots, I think, is what messes me up a little bit on my times. I will pull from the machine to look at my most recent, but my last, I'll kind of show you guys. All right, trying to get back to 1. So first split between the first and the second shot, between the first and third shot, and then between the first and last shot, right? I don't know what that 4 means, so that's, oh, let's go back to 1. Is that when oh, I must have popped something. Let me see. Oh, split 1. I don't want a second beep. Yeah, I think I lost my reaction, which I think was if I remember. I'll have to check the replay, but anyway, I think the 3 dots is what messes me up. I really like the ergos on this. I like the trigger guard here having plenty of space for me with my finger. I have plenty of play, and then it is, because it's pointed back towards the property. I mean, that's a pretty, not a lot of take up right at the wall. Like, it's a very prominent wall, and then the reset on it's real good. I don't feel I may actually conceal carry this because I really like the way that I can get a full grip. I actually have just a little bit left over beyond the pinky there. I really like the texturing here and here, the jimping there and there makes it really nice to be able to get a really good grip on the gun. My hand position is really nice, very natural, where I kind of reside, where I sit. Now, what I was noticing, this was kind of, the slide release was kind of hitting back on the thumb. So I had to just bring it over ever so slightly so that it wasn't kicking back. And then once I adjusted my fingers and palms, I was able to get pretty tight to the frame there without it kicking up. So I guess that is one thing that I did notice, but I'd rather have that extended slide release. I think it is really nice. And like I said, it's just an adjustment, not trying to get in so close to the slide, moving back a little bit, trying to rely on the fingers and everything, but very good grip position, pretty flat shooting too.